crystal glasses clinked in unison with the soft music filling the banquet hall. Hall of the restaurant Russian Seasons. Anna Sergeyevna adjusted her pearl necklace on neck and looked around at the assembled guests. 60 years is a respectable date, and she wanted this evening was memorable for everyone, especially her son Maxim and his wife Elena. Maybe today they'll stop pretending to be a happy couple, she thought, watching. As her daughter-in-law once she moves away from her husband's attempt to put his arm around her waist. "Mom, can I have you? For a minute?" Maxim approached her, holding a glass of champagne in his hands. His face was tense, and there was something in his eyes that Anna Sergeyevna I've never seen it before. Determination bordering on desperation. "Sure, son, is something wrong?" She touched his hand, feeling him trembling. "Everything is fine. I just want to say a toast. A special toast." He gulped it down, finished his champagne, and headed towards the small stage where a string quartet was playing. Elena was sitting at the table, mechanically smiling at her mother's friend, who was talking about her grandchildren for the 100th time. She saw Maxim climb onto the stage, and something alarming stirred in him. Chest. Over 10 years of marriage, she learned to read him like an open book. And now every feature of his face screamed that something irreparable was about to happen. "Excuse me, I need to." She tried to get up, but it was too late. Maxim took microphone. "Dear guests, I want to say a few words. About the most important person in my life, about my mother." His voice carried throughout the room, and the conversation died down. Anna Sergeyevna smiled, adjusting a grey strand in her elegant hairstyle. "My mother always taught me to be honest. She said that lying is a poison that slowly poisons the soul. And today, on her birthday, I want to make her a gift. A gift of truth." Elena felt the blood drain from her faces. She knew that tone. That's how Maxim spoke when he made the final decision. Decision. "Maxim, no need," she whispered, but her words were drowned out by the interested voices. "Mom, you always dreamed of me being. I am happy to have a strong family, a loving wife, children. But I have to admit, I've been living a lie for the last 5 years. My marriage to Elena is fiction. We don't love each other. We haven't even slept in the same bedroom for 3 years." The guests gasped. Someone dropped a fork, and the clink of metal on porcelain sounded like shot in silence. Anna Sergeyevna slowly rose from her seat. The face was impassive. "And so, Mom, here is your gift. I'm leaving her. I can't pretend anymore. I can't smile at family photographs, knowing that icy silence awaits us at home. Forgive me, but I choose freedom." Elena sat as if petrified. 10 years of her life were crumbling before her eyes, turning into dust under the gaze of dozens of people. She saw her best friend Marina covers his mouth with his hand, as Maxim's colleagues whisper, as his cousin takes out her phone, undoubtedly to be the first to spread the news in the family chat. Humiliation, her cheeks were burning, but she couldn't move, she couldn't even cry. Anna Sergeyevna slowly approached the stage. Her gait was majestic, like Queen going to her execution. She picked up the second microphone and turned to the audience. "Thank you for the gift, son. It really is worth it." Her voice was calm, even too calm. "And here is my gift to you," turned on the screen. She nodded to the waiter, who pressed a button on the remote control. The huge screen behind the stage came to life, and an image appeared on it. Maxim turned and froze. On the screen there was a photograph. He himself in the arms of a young blonde against the backdrop of the sea. Next shot. They are kissing in the car. Another one is entering the hotel, holding hands. By the hands. "This is Christina, Maxim's secretary," Anna Sergeyevna explained in a dispassionate tone. "They have been dating for a year and a half. Every Friday. Fitness club. Every Saturday a country hotel. Very convenient schedule." A second later the hall froze. Maxim stood, looking at the screen where the photos of his secret life were changing. His face was red turned white, then grey. "Mom, where from?" He couldn't finish the sentence. "Mom has your sources of information, dear. Especially when this mother," the former prosecutor investigator Anna Sergeyevna smiled. "By the way, Christina is married. She has 2 children. I wonder if her husband knows about your Friday fitness workouts?" Elena slowly rose from the table. Everything that was happening seemed bad to her. A dream from which it is impossible to wake up. She walked towards the exit, feeling on herself dozens of glances, sympathetic, curious, malicious. Right at her door, Marina caught up. "Lena, wait, where are you going?" Her friend tried to hold her hand. "Home to pack things." Elena freed herself and pushed the heavy door. Night air hit her in the face with cold, sobering her up and returning her ability to think. Took out her phone and called a taxi, trying not to think about what was happening in the hall. About how Maxim tries to justify himself to his mother and guests. About how tomorrow about this their entire social circle will talk about the scandal. That her life will not be the same. The apartment was dark and quiet. Elena turned on the light and looked around as if she was seeing her home for the first time. Here is the sofa where she and Maxim once watched movies, covered with one blanket. Here is the kitchen table where they drank morning coffee, discussing plans for the day. Here is their wedding photo in silver frame. Two happy people, not knowing what awaits them ahead. She took photograph and looked at the smiling faces for a long time. When everything went wrong she asked the young woman in the picture, but she only smiled answer. The door slammed and Maxim appeared in the hallway. He looked confused and lost, like a little boy who had been scolded for breaking a vase. "Lena, we need to talk." He walked into the living room without taking off his coat. "About what? About how you humiliated me in front of by everyone, or about how he dated someone else for a year and a half?" She put aside the photo and turned to him. "I didn't mean for it to turn out this way. He broke down. He couldn't pretend anymore, but I could." Elena laughed, and in that there was so much bitterness in the laughter that Maxim winced. "Do you think it was easy for me to smile at your mother, knowing that my husband comes home smelling of someone else's perfume? Do you think I don't guess about your Friday late work?" He stared at her, not believing it. "To my ears. Did you know?" "Of course I knew. I'm not blind, Maxim. I just hope that this will pass, that you will come to your senses, that we can fix everything. Lena, forgive me. I'm an idiot. A complete idiot." He sat down on the sofa and clasped his head in his hands. "It's all over for Christina. Mom took care of it. Called her husband straight from restaurant. God, what a nightmare." Elena poured herself a drink, water, and drank it slowly, collecting her thoughts. "You know what's funniest? I wanted to leave too. I've been wanting to for 6 months now. I even looked at an apartment, saved money. But I kept putting it off. It was your birthday, or your wedding anniversary, your parents, or something else. I didn't want to make a scene, spoil it. Holidays. And you just went and decided everything for both of us. What will happen now?" Maxim raised eyes full of fear and confusion. "That's what you wanted, a divorce. I'll go tomorrow. To a lawyer, I'll file a claim. The apartment is yours. I'll only take my things. And you know what? Thank you for saving me the trouble. Continue to pretend, for putting an end to this endless lie." She headed to the bedroom, but stopped at the door. "Just don't thank your mom." "I will say." It was possible to solve this without a public execution. The following days passed in strange fog. Elena methodically collected things. Maxim Teo tried with a talk, then disappeared for the whole day. Anna Sergeyevna called both of them on several times a day, but no one picked up the phone. News about the scandal at the anniversary spread throughout their circle with the speed of a forest fire, acquiring ever new details. Someone said that Elena threw a tantrum and broke the cake. Someone claimed that Maxim had fought with his wife's lover. There were many versions, and each was more colorful than the previous one. Marina arrived on the third day, brought food and a bottle of wine. "How are you?" She hugged her friend, feeling her tremble. "It's normal. Even good. You know, I feel like learned to breathe again." Elena opened the wine and poured it into glasses. "And Maxim, he went to a friend's place and said that he couldn't stay here, where everything reminded him of our life together. Playwright." They drank, and Marina asked cautiously, "What are you going to do now?" "Live. Really live. I'll rent an apartment. Maybe I'll change jobs. I want to start from scratch." The doorbell rang. Elena Nahadi went to open the door, thinking that it was again a courier with documents from the lawyer. But Anna Sergeyevna was standing on the threshold. She looked tired and somehow drooping, as if she had aged several years in these days. "Elena, can I come in?" "Of course. Anna Sergeyevna, come in." Elena stepped back, letting mother-in-law into the apartment. They sat down in the living room. Marina tactfully retired to kitchen, leaving them alone. I came to apologize. Anna Sergeyevna looked right in the eyes of the daughter-in-law. For what? For the show that was put on. I wanted to teach my son a lesson, to show him that the secret always becomes clear, but I didn't think about you, about the fact that you would suffer more than anyone else. Elena shook her head. Head. You protected me. In your own cruel way, but you protected me. I don't hold a grudge. You're too kind, girl. Always were too kind for my son. Anna Sergeyevna sighed. You know, I saw it from the very beginning, that you are not right for each other. Maxim, just like his father, impulsive, selfish. And you are quiet, homely, faithful. But you thought that love would overcome everything. How naive I was. Elena poured her mother-in-law some tea, and they were silent for a while, each thinking about his. What, Maxim? Elena finally asked. He lives with Igor, drinks, and reproaches himself for everything. Christina filed for divorce. Her husband kicked her out of the house. Now she calls Maxim, demands that he marry her. And he realized that he doesn't love her, that it was just an affair, a way to escape from problems in marriage. Idiot. Anna Sergeyevna shook her head. Wants to come back to you. Ask me to talk to you, put in a good word. No. Elena said it calmly, without anger or resentment. I can't. I don't want to. Too much water has flowed under the bridge. Too much has been said and done. I wish Maxim happiness. I really wish. But not with me. We both deserve to start life over without the burden of past mistakes. Anna Sergeyevna nodded. I understand and respect your solution. You know, over the years you have become like a daughter to me, and I will miss you. After leaving mother-in-law, Elena sat by the window for a long time, looking at the evening city. Marina left, leaving her alone with her thoughts. Tomorrow she will sign the divorce papers. The day after tomorrow he will move to a new apartment. Life took a sharp turn, and it was scary. But at the same time she felt a strange relief, as if I dropped a heavy burden from my shoulders that I had been carrying for too long. The phone rang. Maxim's name appeared on the screen. Elena looked at the call for a long time. Then I pressed the end button. Some bridges are better burned to the ground, so there is no temptation come back. She turned off the phone and went into the kitchen to cook dinner. For the first time in for a long time she wanted to eat. She wanted to live. She wanted to believe that there was something ahead of her, something good is waiting. A month has passed. Elena has settled into her new apartment, a small but cozy studio in a quiet area. She changed her phone number, deleted all social networks and seemed to disappear from her previous social circle. Only Marina knew her new address and occasionally dropped by to visit. Elena learned news about her ex-husband. Maxim tried to improve his life, but it didn't work out bad. Christina stalked him, made scandals at work, and in the end eventually he had to quit. Anna Sergeyevna hardly communicated with her son, forgiving him for his public disgrace. You know, everyone says you did it, that's right. Marina sipped coffee in her friend's tiny kitchen. Who's everyone? Well, our mutual friends. Many admire your endurance. Not everyone could leave with such dignity after such humiliation. Elena shrugged. I don't feel heroine. I'm just doing what I should have done a long time ago. I live for myself. And she really lived. Enrolled in the Italian language courses I had dreamed of many years. I started running in the mornings in the nearby park. On weekends I went to museum and at the exhibition, rediscovering the city. Colleagues at work noticed changes. Elena seemed to blossom, became more confident, more active. Her boss offered her a promotion and she accepted, even though she had previously refused it. Career advancement for the sake of family. One evening, returning from work, she ran into Anna Sergeyevna at the supermarket. The former mother-in-law looked older and tired. Elena, my God, has changed somehow. It got better. She looked at her former daughter-in-law with surprise and some sadness. Thank you. How are you? Oh, I'm just living little by little. I felt lonely. Maxim rarely comes by. He always has some kind of business. And I sit in my big apartment and wonder if it was worth putting on that show. Maybe. Would it have been better to remain silent? Elena paused, choosing her words. Anna Sergeyevna, you did what you thought was right. You defended your son, albeit harshly. Way. And the fact that our marriage fell apart is not your fault. It was doomed long ago. Before your anniversary. It's just that Maxim and I were afraid to admit it. The women stood silently, each lost in her thoughts. Be happy, girl, she finally said. Anna Sergeyevna went to Kasia. Elena watched her go and thought about how life is strange. Spring came unexpectedly early. Elena was sitting in a small cafe by the window, checking work emails and enjoying the first reel on a warm day. At the next table, a young couple was animatedly discussing something, laughing and touching each other with their hands. Such scenes once caused her bitterness and envy, but now she looked at the lovers with a warm smile. They will do better than her. Elena. A familiar voice made her shudder. She looked up and saw Maxim. He changed a lot in these months. Lost weight, became haggard. Grey hair appeared in his hair. Hello. She put the phone down, unsure how to react to this meeting. Can I sit down? Sure. He sat down on the chair opposite and was silent for a while, looking at her. You look great. You look happy, he finally said. I am happy. And how are you? I'm surviving. I work for another company. I rent apartment. It's all over with Christina. She went back to her husband. It turns out I was just a way to get his attention. Irony of fate. He grinned wryly. I'm sorry. Elena said it sincerely. Despite everything, she didn't wish him any harm. No need. I got what I deserved. Karma, as they say. They were silent, sipping cold coffee. You know, I've been thinking about us a lot lately. Maxim looked out the window, avoiding her gaze. About where we took a wrong turn. And I realized we were different people from the start. We just didn't want to admit it. You dreamed of a quiet family haven, and I was eager for adventure. You wanted stability, and I wanted passion. We tried remake each other, and in the end we both lost. But we loved each other. In the beginning they loved. Elena remembered their first years, full of tenderness and hope. They loved, but love was not enough. Understanding and respect were also needed, willingness to compromise, and we were too young and selfish for this. Maxim finally looked into her eyes. Forgive me for everything, for the lies, for betrayal, for that nightmare at my mother's anniversary. You didn't deserve that. Relationships. I forgive, Elena smiled, and this smile was light, without a shadow of past grievances. And you forgive me for the coldness, for the silence, for not fighting for our marriage. Maybe if we talked more things would be different, maybe not. Some people are just not meant to be together, no matter how hard they try. Maxim stood up. I have to go. It was good to see you. Be happy, Leon. You deserve it. He left. And Elena sat for a long time, looking out the window. The first flowers were blooming on the street. Flowers. People were hurrying about their business. Life was going on as usual. Somewhere there, in a parallel universe, they are still together with Maxim, happy, loving, not knowing about betrayals and treacheries. But in this reality their paths diverged forever, and it was right. Sometimes parting is not a defeat, but liberation. A chance to start over and do it right. That evening she met with colleagues at the bar, celebrating the successful completion of a large project. Elena laughed, joked, danced, and felt alive. Really alive for the first time in many years. When Andrei from the neighboring department invited her to date, she agreed without hesitation. Why not? Life too short to waste it regretting the past. Anna Sergeyevna sat in her big apartment, looking through photos. Here is Maxim, little, smiling toothlessly into the camera. Here is his graduation. He stands proud, with a gold medal. Here is the wedding. He and Elena, young, beautiful, full of hope. She long looked at this picture, thinking about how everything turned out. Her gift of truth destroyed not only his son's marriage, but also their relationship. Maxim hardly called, didn't come. He was offended by the revelation, although he was the one who started this game of frankness. The phone rang. Mom, it's me. My son's voice sounded unusually quiet. Can I come over? We need to talk. An hour later, he was sitting in the kitchen where he grew up, drinking tea from his old Mickey Mouse mug. Forgive me, Mom, for everything. For that idiotic toast, for the shame I caused you. I was a fool. Anna Sergeyevna stroked him on the head, like in childhood. And I forgive you. Son, I shouldn't have arranged that performance. I could talk to you alone without witnesses. No, you were right. I deserved public humiliation. Only Lena didn't deserve it. She's good, Mom, too good for an idiot like me. Maxim buried his face in his palms. She forgave you. Yes. We met by chance. We talked. She's happy now. Happy without me. And that's right. They sat in the kitchen until late. Mother and son for the first time in a long time talking frankly, without masks and pretense. A year passed. Elena stood on the observation deck the Vorobyovo Gory site, admiring Moscow in the evening. Andrei was standing nearby, hugging her by the shoulders. Their relationship developed slowly, without drama and passions, but with mutual respect and warmth. He knew about her past and accepted it without demanding to forget or erase it from memory. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, noticing her thoughtfulness. "About how strange everything turned out. A year ago my life collapsed in front of dozens of people. And now I'm grateful for this." Grateful? Andrei was surprised. Yes, if it weren't for that scandal, I would have continued to live a lie. To endure, hope, deceive yourself. And it was so painful, humiliating, scary. But it gave I need the strength to start over and meet you. She turned to him and smiled. Fate sometimes presents gifts in very strange packaging. At the same time on the other side of town, Maxim was having dinner with a new girlfriend, a calm brunette, Olga, who was introduced to him by a colleague. No fireworks or passions, but it was no longer necessary. He learned to appreciate simple things, sincerity, kindness, reliability. When Olga talked about her work in a children's hospice, he listened with genuine interest and thought that maybe he had a chance to build something present. Anna Sergeyevna was not alone that evening. Her friends came to see her, the very ones that they witnessed the scandal at the anniversary. At first, the relationship was strained, but gradually everything got better. People love drama, but they love it even more happy endings. And the fact that Elena and Maxim found happiness, separately, was also a kind of happy ending. "You know, girls," said Anna Sergeyevna, pouring tea, "I think it's all for the best." They were both happier than they had been before. Together. And that's the main thing. Life went on as usual. Moscow lived with their stormy lives, not noticing the little human dramas. Somewhere celebrated weddings, mourned divorces somewhere, declared their love somewhere parted forever. And in this whirlwind of fates, the story of Elena and Maxima was just one of many. Sad, instructive, but with a happy finale. Because happiness is not always being together. Sometimes happiness is to let go in time and give each other a chance for a new life. 6 months later, Elena received an invitation to the wedding. Marina was getting married, and her friend didn't imagine this day without her. Maxim was also on the guest list. The groom turned out to be his old friend. "You don't mind?" Marina worried. "We are adults, after all. People. We'll manage," Elena reassured her. And they managed. Their eyes met across the room, nodded to each other, and even exchanged a few phrases at the bar. No awkwardness, no hard feelings. Just two people with a common past and different future. At that wedding Anna Sergeyevna gave a toast, short, without any revelations and surprises. Wished the young people honesty with each other, the ability to forgive and compromise. And remember, the truth sometimes hurts, but lies kill slowly and surely. Be sincere with each other, and then no gifts of truth do not frighten you. The guests applauded, not knowing what the story was stands behind these words. After the wedding, Elena and Andrei walked around Moscow at night. "Your ex-mother-in-law had a strange toast," he noted. "She had a really strange toast, a peculiar sense of humor," Elena smiled. "Will you ever tell the whole story?" Marina only hinted that there had been some kind of huge scandal. Elena was silent for a moment, then nodded. "I'll tell you, but not today. Today is too good an evening for sad ones. Stories." They walked along the embankment, and the city lights were reflected in the dark water. Somewhere music played, people laughed, life went on. And Elena thought that sometimes the most life-scary moments turn out to be turning points for the better. What humiliation can become liberation? That the truth, no matter how bitter, was better than a beautiful lie. And that the gifts of fate do not always come in a beautiful packaging. Years later, when Elena and Andrei had a daughter, they named her Anna. Not in honor of the former mother-in-law, of course, just a coincidence. But when Anna Sergeyevna found out about this from mutual friends, tears came to her eyes. She never became grandmother. Maxim and Olga were in no hurry with the children. But somewhere in Moscow grew up little Anya, who will never know what role she played in her mother's fate played another Anna. And in Elena's family archive, among other photographs, was stored one photo from that ill-fated anniversary. A group photo taken at the beginning evenings when everyone was still smiling. She didn't throw it away, although Andrei wondered, why keep the memory of the worst day in life? But for Elena it was not the worst day. There was a day when one life ended and another began. 5 years passed. Elena stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her earrings. Today was an important day, her anniversary own mother Valentina Pavlovna. 70 years old. A solid date. Are you ready? Andrei looked into the bedroom. Almost. Anechka is all ready. She is sitting with her grandmother, looking at the presents. Elena smiled. Her mother adored her granddaughter, spoiled her and always protected from parental strictness. There were about 50 people in the banquet hall, relatives, friends, colleagues of Valentina Pavlovna from the library, where she worked for 40 years. Elena was bustling about, checking if everything was ready. Andrei helped seat the guests. 4-year-old Anya carried a basket of rose petals with dignity. What a wonderful rose you have. Daughter, said one of my mother's friends. Just like her, the same beauty. Anna Sergeyevna unexpectedly entered the hall. Elena froze. They hadn't seen each other for almost 3 years since Marina's wedding. The mother-in-law had aged, but she still held herself upright. Next to her walked Maxim with Olga and Strolla. They have a child, Elena thought and felt a strange calm. No jealousy, no pain. Just a statement of fact. Her ex-husband, now there is a child. Elena, forgive me for not being invited. Anna Sergeyevna approached her. Your mother and I became friends at the clinic. Can you imagine? It turned out that the same doctor we are being observed. She invited us, said that you would not mind. But if it is inconvenient, let's go. Elena looked at Maxim, who was clearly feeling awkward. Olga, clutching a bag of baby supplies to her sleeping baby in a stroller. Of course, stay, Mom will be happy. The celebration went on as usual. The guests made toasts. Valentina Pavlovna was touched and thanked everyone for their warm words. Anya recited a poem that she had learned especially for her grandmother and tore it off thunderous applause. Elena secretly watched the table where Maxim and his family were sitting. He was talking about something quietly talked to Olga. She was feeding her awakened son. An ordinary family, the painting that was once her dream. Do you regret it? Andrei followed her look. About what? That you didn't have children with him? Elena shook her head. No, that's all. It happened the way it was supposed to happen. I have Anechka. He has his own family. Everyone is happy. And it was true. The pain has long since passed, leaving only a slight sadness about what could have been. But it didn't happen. The evening was coming to an end. The guests began to disperse. Anya fell asleep in Andrei's arms. Elena helped her mother pack gifts when Anna Sergeyevna approached them. Thank you for letting me stay. For it means a lot to me. She paused, choosing her words. You know, I often remember that anniversary of mine and I keep thinking whether I did the right thing, whether it was worth putting on that performance. And what do you think? Elena looked closely at her former mother-in-law. I don't know. On the one hand, I destroyed your marriage. On the other hand, it was already held together by honesty. Word. Maybe my harsh truth just sped up the inevitable. Anna Sergeyevna sighed. But you know what I've learned over the years. It's not always a gift, though. Sometimes it's a weapon. And it's important not just to tell the truth, but also to understand why you are doing it. You do. Maxim approached them, pushing the stroller. Lena, congratulations on your mom's anniversary. Give her our best wishes again. He looked calm, peaceful. Fatherhood had clearly done him good. Thank you, I'll pass it on. What's the baby's name? Artyom. Artyomka. Elena looked into the stroller. The boy was sleeping, snoring and smacking his lips. Handsome, all like his dad. They stood there in silence, two former spouses between whom there was love, then lies, then pain, and now calm acceptance. We'll go, said Maxim. Thanks again for not kicking us out. We are adults, after all. People. And then our children can meet someday and become friends. There is no point in depriving them of this opportunity because of old grievances. Maxim nodded and rolled the stroller towards exit. Olga said goodbye with a restrained nod. Anna Sergeyevna hugged Elena on farewell. When they left, Valentina Pavlovna approached her daughter. "Forgive me, that didn't warn me. Anna Sergeyevna is so lonely. She asked so much. I couldn't resist." "It's okay, Mom. I'm glad they came, though. It closes some lid on that Gestalt, or something." Valentina Pavlovna hugged her daughter. "I'm proud of you. Not everyone could behave so decently." At home, after putting Anya to bed, Elena and Andrei sat in the kitchen, drank tea and discussed the past evening. "It's strange. Life is arranged after all," Andrei said. 5 years ago they arranged for you public humiliation, and today we sat quietly at the same table. Time heals. And then we all changed, became wiser, or something. Realized that revenge resentment is a road to nowhere. The next day Elena received a message from Anna Sergeyevna. "Thank you for yesterday. You are an amazing woman. Andrei is lucky." Elena looked at the screen for a long time, then typed out a reply. "Thank you. I'm glad you came too. Maybe we can meet for tea sometime? Without unnecessary witnesses and drama." The answer came instantly, "With pleasure. When is it convenient for you?" They met in week in a small coffee shop not far from Elena's house. Anna Sergeyevna came with a cake exactly like the one she had for her anniversary 5 years ago. Symbolically, she smiled. Then the cake remained untouched. Everyone ran away after scandal. They talked for a long time about everything, about children, about work, about life. Neither a word about the past, only the present and the future. "You know, I was thinking of writing a book," Anna Sergeyevna said unexpectedly. "About what?" "About us, about that story. About how trying to tell the truth can turn into a disaster, and how a disaster can turn into a disaster something good will be born." Elena thought about it. "Interesting idea. But you understand that everyone will recognize us. I will change the names, details, but I will leave the essence. I think this is important history. About the fact that truth without love is cruelty." In the spring Anna Sergeyevna sent Elena a manuscript. A Gift of Truth, that was the name of the story. Elena read, and before her eyes appeared images of the past. That ill-fated evening, public humiliation, pain, hurt, and then slow healing. The author did not spare anyone, first of all herself. She wrote honestly about her pride, about wanting to teach her son a lesson, about how she hurt her daughter-in-law. "What do you think?" Anna Sergeyevna asked when they met to discuss the book. "Powerful, honest, painful to read in places, but true. Do you mind if I try to publish it?" Elena was silent. "You know, I don't mind. Maybe someone will read it and think about it. Learn from our mistakes." The book was published in a small print run, but unexpectedly became popular. Readers discussed, argued, shared their stories. Maxim called Elena after he read his mother's book. "Listen, this is strongly. I didn't think my mother was capable of such frankness. She says a lot rethought over the years. We rethought everything. You know, I'm grateful to fate for how everything worked out. If it weren't for that scandal, I wouldn't have met Olya. I wouldn't have Artyomka. And you wouldn't. Would you be happy with Andrei?" They talked a little more, calmly, friendly, like old friends. The summer was hot. Elena and her family left to the dacha, away from the Moscow heat. There, among the apple trees and strawberry beds, she thought about how her life had changed. About how happiness comes, in the most unexpected ways. About how sometimes you have to go through pain in order to find your true self. One evening, when Anya was already asleep, and Andrei was fiddling with the grill, preparing dinner, when Marina called. "Leon, are you sitting? I have news." "What happened?" "Remember that Christina, Maxim's secretary? Well, with whom he had an affair. I remember that with her. Can you imagine? She book Anna Sergeyevna read it and came to her. She says she's apologizing. Only after the book did she understand how much pain she caused everyone." Elena didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Life has thrown up plots that no writer could have come up with. And what Anna Sergeyevna accepted her. We talked. Christina said that she also wants write your story. On the other side of the barricades. about what it's like to be homewrecker when you are put on public display. It will be interesting to read. It came out in the fall, the second book, Another Woman by Kristina Volkova. Elena bought it rather from curiosity, not expecting anything special. But the book turned out to be unexpectedly profound. The author spoke honestly about her feelings, about falling in love with someone else's husband, about self-deception, about the hope for happiness built on someone else's misfortune, about the humiliation she felt when her photographs were shown to the entire room, about a broken family, about children who suffered because of her selfishness. "I'm not making excuses," Kristina wrote. "I just want other women to think about this when they read this story. Is a fleeting passion worth ruined lives? Is someone else's man worth tears? My own children? I paid too high a price for my mistake. Let others learn from my example." Unexpectedly for everyone, Anna Sergeyevna's books and Kristina became the basis for the producer's television series saw potential, drama, passion, and unexpected plot twists in this story. When Eleni received a call from television and was offered to become a consultant for the project, she doubted for a long time. "Agree," Andrew said. "This is the opportunity to convey important things to millions of people, to show that from any there is a way out of the situation." Working on the series turned out to be exciting. Elena met with the scriptwriters, talked about details that were not in the books. They came to the set, all the participants of that story, even Maxim and Olga. It was strange to see how the actors recreate the most painful moments of their lives. But at the same time it was also therapeutic, as if you were observing your past from the outside, without pain or resentment. "Aren't you afraid that after the series everyone will recognize you?" the performer asked. Roles of Elena. "Let them find out," the real Elena shrugged. "We have nothing be ashamed. We all made mistakes, but we managed to correct them. We found the strength to forgive and move on. If our story helps someone avoid similar mistakes, then everything it was not in vain." The series premiered a year later. Anna Sergeyevna arranged watching the first episode at home, inviting all the real-life participants' events. It was strange to sit in the very same living room where Maxim once confessed mothers in adultery, and watch how this scene is played out by actors. "Wow, they even picked the same sofa," Maxim noted. "This is the very same one." "Sofa," Anna Sergeyevna grinned. "The props people said it was perfect. Suits the era." After watching it, everyone was silent for a long time. Then Olga, who before she knew the story only in general terms, and said, "I now understand. Why are you all so hardened or something? After something like that you either break or you become stronger." "We chose the second," Elena answered. Although it was not easy. The series was a huge success. Viewers discussed each episode, argued, whose side is right, wrote long posts on social networks. Especially the scene at the anniversary, the very moment when Anna, caused heated discussion. Sergeyevna showed photos of her son's betrayal. Opinions were divided. Some believed her act was cruel, others, just retribution. "You know what's most interesting?" said Anna Sergeyevna at one of the meetings with journalists. "People argue about who is right, who is guilty. But that's not the point. The point is that we were all wrong. I am because used the truth as a weapon. Maxim because he lived a lie. Elena because endured and kept silent. Kristina because she built happiness on someone else's misfortune. But we all managed to admit our mistakes and change. This is the main lesson of our history." After the series release, the characters' lives changed. People began to turn to them for advice, who found themselves in similar situations. Elena began hosting a blog about how to survive a divorce and start a new life. Anna Sergeyevna gave lectures on family psychology. Even Kristina found her calling. She began working in crisis center, helping women get out of destructive relationships. Another 2 years passed. Anna Sergeyevna celebrated her 65th birthday. This time the celebration was intimate, only the closest ones. Elena with Andrei and grown-up Anya, Maxim with Olga and 2 sons. During this time, they had a second, several close girlfriends. No pomp, no surprises, just a warm family evening. "Mom, can I have a toast?" Maxim stood up, holding a glass in his hands. Everyone tensed up, remembering what his last toast at my mother's anniversary ended. "Calm down, no revelations," he smiled. "I just want to say thank you, Mom, for the lesson, even if it was cruel. Elena for forgiving me, Olya for accepting me with all my baggage, and to all of us for turning a tragedy into a new beginning." Everyone drank, And Anna Sergeyevna stood up from her seat. Since such revelations began, then I'll tell you. 7 years ago I thought I was giving my son the truth. In reality it wasn't a gift, but a blow. I wanted to teach a lesson, punish, show my superiority. And only later, when I saw the consequences, I understood that truth without love destroys, and does not heal. Thank you all for forgiving me, for allowing me to correct my mistake, for us being together again, already in a new capacity, but together. The evening continued. The children played in the next room. The adults remembered funny stories, planned a joint vacation. Looking at this peaceful picture, it was hard to believe that these people had once caused each other such pain. But the scars remained. It's just they learned to live with them, turning the wounds into a source of wisdom. When guests began to disperse, Elena helped Anna Sergeyevna clear the table. You know, I keep thinking, said the former mother-in-law. If only it were possible to go back to that evening, I would have shown those photos anyway. She paused, wiping glasses. Probably, yes, but in a different way. Not publicly, not so cruelly. Just I would show you in private. I would give you the opportunity to decide for yourself what to do further. But I would have left anyway, Elena answered. Maybe not right away, maybe, in a month or two. But I would leave because I can't live with a person you don't trust. So, in a way, you did me favor, hastened the inevitable. The women embraced, no longer the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, but simply two close people who have gone through a common pain. Returning home, Elena thought about how strange life is. The scariest day of her life led to the most important changes. Public humiliation became the impetus for new happiness. The broken family gave birth to two new, strong families. And the cruel truth, thrown like a stone, at the end finally healed everyone. At home, Andrei had already put Anya to bed. How did it go? He asked. Okay, calm down. Family style. Elena pressed herself against her husband, feeling the warmth and security of his embrace. You know, I thought maybe we should have a second child? Anya is already big. She asks for a brother or a sister. Andrei smiled. I've been waiting for you to suggest this for a long time. A year later they had a son. They named him Arthur, in tune with Artem, their son. Maxima, but still in his own way. The children became friends, often played together on playground. The adults smiled as they looked at them. New generation, not burdened by the weight of past mistakes. Everyone came to Christina Arthur, and Maxim with his family, and Anna Sergeyevna, and even Christina. Over the past years, she became part of their strange extended family. After the ceremony, everyone gathered in restaurant, the very one where the scandal once took place. Why did you choose this place? Maxim was surprised. To rewrite history, she answered. Elena, create new good memories. And now, almost 10 years after that fateful evening, they were again sitting in the banquet hall of the Russian seasons. Only now it was a celebration of a new life, not the destruction of the old one. Anna Sergeyevna, she looked after her grandchildren, both her biological grandson Artyom and her non-biological grandson Artur, who became her own. Maxim and Andrei were discussing some joint business project. Elena and Olga were sharing secrets raising boys. Do you remember that evening? She suddenly said Christina. Everyone fell silent. We remember. Anna Sergeyevna nodded. How could it not remember? If someone had told us back then that in 10 years we would be sitting behind bars one table, like one big family, I wouldn't believe it. No one would believe it, she agreed, Elena, but life is wiser than us. It knows how to turn tragedy into blessing. Towards the end of the evening, Anna Sergeyevna asked to speak. I want to make a toast. And I promise, no surprises. She smiled, and everyone laughed. 10 years ago I thought that truth is the most valuable gift. I was wrong. The most valuable gift is the ability to forgive. Thank you all for this gift, for the fact that we were able to forgive each other and ourselves, for the fact that from the fragments of the past built a beautiful present. Let's drink to forgiveness, to the new beginning, for our big, strange, but happy family. Everyone raised their glasses. At that moment, little Arthur, sitting in Elena's arms, reached for the microphone, which someone left on the table. Oh, take it away, or he'll say something else, Olga laughed. Let him talk, Anna Sergeyevna smiled. In this family everyone has the right to a toast. The kid grabbed the microphone and loudly said into it, Baba. Everyone laughed. "Now that's the right toast," said Maxim. "Short, to the point, and pure heart." Laughter filled the hall, the same hall where the dead once reigned silence of shock and horror. The circle is closed, the story is over. But life went on, a new one, built on honesty, forgiveness, and true love. That night Elena couldn't sleep for a long time. She thought about the past evening, about the long journey they had all taken, about how painful it was then, 10 years ago, when her world collapsed before everyone's eyes. About how slowly, step by step, they all learned to live again. And how paradoxically life is like that. The most terrible moments often become turning points the best. In the morning, Andrew woke her up. "Good morning, my love." Coffee in bed. She smiled, stretched, kissed her husband. Voices could be heard from the nursery. Anya, she was explaining something to her younger brother in her serious, little teacher tone. The sun was shining outside, promising a nice day. And Elena thought that yes, it was really good morning. Good morning to her new, real honest life, the one a life that began 10 years ago with a cruel gift of truth, but led to something much more valuable, to the ability to forgive, love, and be happy. In the chest of drawers, among other memorabilia, lay the program of that ill-fated anniversary. Elena sometimes took it out, looked at the faded letters, on the guest list, many of whom have now become part of their new extended family. And every time I thought that Anna Sergeyevna was both right and not right at the same time. The truth really does set you free, but only that truth which is spoken with love, and not that which is thrown away as if stone. The story that began with the words, "Mom, here is your gift. I am leaving her. And the answer is, here is my gift to you," turned on the screen. It ended completely differently than one might expect at that time, the moment when the audience froze in shock. Another 5 years passed. 15 years since that memorable evening, a whole era. Anna Sergeyevna was preparing for her 70th birthday, and this time she decided to do something special. "I want to gather everyone," she told Elena on the phone. Everyone. Everyone. And do you know where? In the same hall, in the Russian seasons, in the same place where it all began. Elena, at first I was surprised, then I thought about it. Are you sure? It's not very symbolic. That is why I want to show that we are stronger than circumstances, that we can turn a place of pain into a place of joy. Anna Sergeyevna was silent. And I also want to invite everyone who was there then, all the witnesses of that evening. Let him see how that story ended. Preparation for the anniversary turned into a real adventure. Elena and Olga chose the menu together. Maxim and Andrei were engaged in technical partly. The children, already teenagers, helped with sending out invitations. Anya, who turned 14, created a special website with the story of their unusual family. Grandmother. It will be like a documentary, only on the internet, she explained. People will be able to read how it all happened. Look at the photos then and now. Isn't this too personal for the internet? Maxim doubted. Dad, we are not hiding, Artem objected. At 12, he was a copy of his father, just as decisive and straightforward. After the series about us, everyone already knows. So let them know the truth firsthand. Arthur, 10-year-old son of Elena and Andrei, supported a friend. And then, it's cool to show that even from the worst situation, you can come out on top. Christina, who is now in charge of a charity foundation for helping women in difficult life situations, offered its help. Let's do more than just anniversary, but a charity evening. Let's raise money for the foundation, show that our story helps others. Everyone liked the idea, and the preparations began to boil with new strength. 2 weeks before the holiday, something unexpected happened. The producer of that very series, we want to make a documentary called Oh, What Happened to the Heroes 15 Years Later? You can come to the anniversary with cameras. Anna Sergeyevna did not agree right away. This is not a show, this is a family holiday, she doubted. But the children convinced her. Grandma, you said yourself, how the story can help others, and the film will be watched by millions. On the anniversary day, Russian seasons were unrecognizable. The hall was decorated with photographs. A unique chronicle of 15 years. Here is a photo from that first anniversary. Everyone is tense in anticipation storms. Here are the first separate photos. Elena is alone. Maxim is lonely. Then new faces appear: Andrei, Olga. Weddings, births of children, joint holidays of a new big family. History in pictures from destruction to creation. The guests began to gather early. Many of those who witnessed Scandal 15 years ago came out of curiosity to see how it ended that drama. "I can't believe it," a former colleague whispered to a friend. "Maxima, they're all together after everything that happened?" "That's exactly it. I would be there if I were you." Elena didn't come close to them. But Elena not only came, she met the guests. Together with Anna Sergeyevna, like a real daughter. "We are so glad that you came," she said. And there was not a drop of falsehood in her words. "Over the years, I really learned to consider my ex-mother-in-law as my second mother. Not the one gave birth, but to the one who helped to be born again." Maxim and Andrei stood at the entrance, greeting guests like old friends. Their children ran around the room, helping seat the guests. "Look, here's where Dad stood when said that toast." Artem was showing his friends a historical place, and there sat Mom. "When it all happened," Anya added. For them, it was already history, a family legend, devoid of pain and drama. Suddenly a man of about 50. Elena didn't recognize him right away, but Christina turned pale. It was her ex-husband Sergei. "Sorry, I'm here without an invitation," he said, addressing Anna Sergeyevna. "But when he found out about the evening, he couldn't come to me. He wanted to thank me." Everyone fell silent, waiting for him to continue. "If it weren't for that story, that scandal, I would never have realized how blind I was. I didn't appreciate my wife. I didn't see that I was losing her. That a call from you, Anna Sergeyevna, was a blow that sobered me up." Christina looked at her ex-husband with surprise. They hadn't spoken for many years. After the divorce, he disappeared from her life. "I followed your activities," continued Sergei. "The foundation book Help for Women. I am proud of you and grateful for those years, that we lived together, for the children. Forgive me for interfering in your holiday. Just wanted to say that." He turned to leave, but Anna Sergeyevna stopped him. "Stay. Since we are gathering all the participants of that stories, you have a right to be here too." The evening began with a film that edited by children. 15 minutes of chronicle from the scandal to the present day. Interview with participants, archival photos, frames from the series and real life. We are saints," Elena said to the camera. "We are ordinary people who have made mistakes and found the strength to correct them. The main thing is not to be afraid of the truth," he added. "Maxim, even if it hurts, because lies hurt even more, just slower." After the film, Anna Sergeyevna took the floor. She stood in the same place where she had shown incriminating photos 15 years ago. Photographs, but now behind her was a screen with completely different images. Happy faces of her large family. "Dear friends, thank you for coming. Especially those who was here 15 years ago. You witnessed one of the most dramatic moments of our lives. Today I want you to see how that one ended. History." She paused, looking around the room. "Then I thought I was giving a gift truth. In fact, I was taking revenge on my son for disappointing my daughter-in-law, for the fact that she couldn't make him happy. Her shattered illusions about the ideal family. But life is wiser than us. It took my revenge and turned it into blessing. By destroying one family, we built several new ones, much stronger and honest." There was silence in the hall. Even the waiters froze. "I listen. I apologize to all of you," Anna Sergeyevna continued, "for that performance, involuntary spectators which you have become. But even more I want to thank fate for the fact that everything happened exactly this way, because without that pain there would be no happiness today. Without that destruction there would not have been this creation." Elena spoke next. She said about the path of forgiveness, about how difficult it was to let go of grievances. "I was angry at Maxim for betrayal, Anna Sergeyevna for public humiliation, and himself for weakness. But then I realized that anger is an anchor that keeps you in the past. Only having forgiven, you can move forward. And I have forgiven everyone completely, and this freed me for a new love, a new life." Maxim talked about how learned to be honest. "I have been running away from problems all my life. Into work, into intrigue, into lies. That evening was the point of no return. I had to look at myself honestly, and the picture was unpleasant. But it gave a chance to change. Become the husband that Olya deserves, a father that his sons can be proud of, a person who is not afraid to look in the mirror." Children also performed. Anya read essay about what it means to grow up in an unusual family. "I have 2 grandmothers, 2 grandfathers, a bunch of brothers and sisters, both biological and step. We are all different, but we are together, And that is cool. Artem told how their story helped a classmate whose parents were getting divorced. I showed him our website, told him that divorce is not the end light, that you can remain friends, create new families and be happy. He said it gave him hope. The evening culminated in a performance. Christina. She hesitated for a long time to go on stage, but the children persuaded her. 15 years ago I was the main villain of this story, the homewrecker, family destroyer. And it's true. I made a mistake that cost me dearly paid. But it was this mistake that led me to where I am now, to a job that has meaning, to help women who, like me, once got confused in life. Sometimes you need to hit the very bottom to push off and fly up. Suddenly Sergei came up to the microphone, Christina's ex-husband. Can I say a few words? Having received consent, he continued. I was also part of this story, albeit involuntarily. When Anna Sergeyevna called me, then my world collapsed. But then I realized, it collapsed much earlier. I just didn't want to see it. I didn't want to notice how the wife moves away, as the children become strangers. That call made me wake up. Yes, we got divorced, but we still respected each other. And I am grateful to Christina for finding the strength to be honest, even if it was like this in a painful way. The evening went on. The guests danced, chatted, shared impressions. Many approached the members of the unusual family, thanked them for their frankness, for the lesson. One woman with tears in her eyes told Yelena, I was in a similar situation. My husband cheated, and I tolerated it, afraid of a scandal. Your story gave me the strength to leave. Now I am happily married and that's it. Thanks to you. Documentary filmmakers filmed everything that was happening, interviewed guests. It's incredible, said the director. I expected to see forced smiles, hidden tension, but I see a real family. How did you manage it? Anna Sergeyevna smiled. Time, patience, and the desire to be happy. There is no secret. Just every day. Choose forgiveness over resentment, love over anger, truth over lies. About at midnight, when the official part was over and only the closest ones remained, Anna Sergeyevna suggested drink tea in the restaurant kitchen. The owners, who knew the history, allowed it. And so they sat in the kitchen. Their whole big strange family. Anna Sergeyevna, Elena with Andrei, Maxim with Olga, even Christina stayed. The children settled here on the floor, playing board games. Do you know what I'm thinking? Olga said, which was usually silent. If someone were to write our story as a screenplay, they would be told that it's unbelievable that this doesn't happen, that people don't forgive such things, do not become a family after this. But we are proof of that. That happens, Elena answered. You just have to really want it and work on it. Every day. Do you remember how we first met after the divorce? Maxim recalled. I thought you were going to throw coffee at me in that cafe. I had a thought, she laughed. Elena, but I decided it was too melodramatic. We've already created enough drama on several lifetimes ahead. Everyone laughed, remembering the awkward moments of the first years after the divorce. Mom, tell me again how it all happened, Arthur asked. Although the children knew the story by heart, they liked to listen to it again and again, like a fairy tale. And Anna Sergeyevna began to tell, but now it was no longer a tragedy, but a story about how people can change, forgive, and find happiness where it seemed to be absent maybe. They left in the morning. The children slept in their parents' arms. The adults were tired but happy. Documentary filmmakers were waiting for them at the exit final questions. If you could go back 15 years, what would you changed? The director asked. Everyone looked at each other. Anna Sergeyevna answered. Nothing, absolutely nothing, because any the change would have led to a different result, but we are completely satisfied with it, the one that is. The film came out 6 months later and had the effect of a bomb exploding. Millions views, thousands of comments. People argued, admired, did not believe. But the main thing is that many people found hope for themselves in this story. To the Christina Foundation, a flood of donations poured in. A line of people lined up for Elena and Anna Sergeyevna. A queue of people wanting to consult on family matters. What do we do now? Celebrities? Maxim was surprised. We are an example. His mother corrected him. An example that it's never too late to fix everything. Which is true, even the most painful, better than lies, that forgiveness is stronger in place. And that family is not only blood ties, but also the choice to be together, no matter what. The children took the sudden fame calmly. For them, it was just another chapter in their family history. They moved on with their lives. Their lives, studied, made friends, dreamed. Only now their example inspired thousands of other children from broken homes. You gave us hope, they wrote. Them on social networks. They showed that parents' divorce is not a catastrophe, but a chance for new happiness. And a new tradition has appeared in the Russian Seasons restaurant. Once a month, they held evenings there for divorced couples who wanted to learn how to communicate for the sake of their children. Were members of that very unusual family. They shared their experiences, answered questions, helped to find the path from hatred to acceptance, and every time told their story of how public humiliation became the beginning of a new life. One day after such an evening, a young woman approached Elena. In her eyes there were tears. "Thank you," she said. "My husband left for another woman, and I thought that life is over. I wanted to take revenge, to humiliate him, as he humiliated me. But your history, it showed that revenge does not solve anything, that you need to let go and live further. Thank you for this lesson." And there were hundreds of such stories. People came from all over the country to meet this amazing family and listen to how they were able to turn tragedy into triumph, learn to forgive and start over. And every time, when telling their story, the family members themselves were surprised by what they had gone through paths. From that terrible night when the truth fell like the youth of today, when they all help others together. Do you know what the secret is? She once said Anna Sergeyevna at one of the meetings. There is no secret. It's just that in some at that moment, each of us decided, enough suffering, enough being offended, enough living past. And he took a step forward, a small step. Then another and another. And here we are, happy together, ready to share this happiness with others. The story ended, but life went on. Children grew up, created their own families. Grandchildren Anna Sergeyevna's relatives, both blood and non-blood, simply called her grandmother, without making any differences. More and more people gathered at family celebrations. New wives and husbands, children, friends. And every time someone would ask to tell that the very story of the anniversary that changed everything, of the gift of truth that turned out to be a gift of fate. And Anna Sergeyevna told about how her son got up from his chair in restaurant hall and said, "Mom, here's your gift." I'm leaving her about that, how she nodded and replied, "And here is my gift to you," and turned on the screen with evidence of his betrayal. About how a second later the hall froze in shock, and how something was born from this shock beautiful, a real family built on truth, forgiveness, and love. Family, which proved that sometimes you have to destroy everything in order to build it again. And this the new will be stronger, more honest, happier than what was before. All from Stories Beyond.